Texture with alcohol is a specialty technique. Now, what I mean by that is it's something that you don't necessarily want to be using all the time, because otherwise it could look kind of gimmicky, but it is kind of fun. All right, now, when using the alcohol, what you're looking for actually is isopropyl alcohol, okay? So something that you typically have around the house. I'm not talking about any other kind of alcohol, okay? And it could be high or low in terms of its percentage. I've found that the higher the percentage, the more it tends to react with the paint. Okay. Now, one thing to consider too is as you're using alcohol is it could potentially destroy and melt any of your synthetic bristles. Okay. So what I tend to use are Q-tips when I'm using the alcohol. And you'll see, I mean, I have used my brushes before, but then I have to clean them off in the sink right away with soap and water. All right. So that way I don't ruin them. Now, this technique does not require a lot of water. All right. So when I do this, I'm not really going to, I'm going to start off with a little bit of wet into wet, but if you'll notice, not a lot. Okay. So I just like to wet my paper just a little bit, just so that way the paint is really going to penetrate that surface. I'm going to add some paint here. I'd have a little bit of fun. I'm not really worried about creating an image, right? I'm more concerned about getting some paint down, allowing the pigment to move around, all right? I'm going to charge up my paint, okay? So then that way I have some nice colors in there, some nice richness. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my Q-tip. I'm going to open up some of my alcohol here. All right, and I'm just going to dip it in, okay? Try not to pour it onto your painting, all right? And you'll notice is when I come into here, all right, you notice what starts to happen. See how it kind of like pushes away the pigment? Kind of fun, right? Almost creates like a little circle because of where I touched it, okay? Yeah, I could draw with it as well if I really wanted to. Now, that's going to dissipate as it goes. All right, as it keeps moving. So that's something to think about as you're using this, okay? If you have a lot of water in there, it's going to pull it through and pull it out. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, if I really saturate my Q-tip, so I'm going to use the other end, I'm going to really saturate it and let a drop fall on it. Boom, look at that. Very different effect, right, than if I'm pushing it into it. So play around with those and see what happens. So here you see what the alcohol actually dried as, right? And you can also see that the colors are a little bit duller. So play around with it, have some fun, and remember, be patient. Let it dry. Don't manipulate it too much when it's wet.